Greetings gamers and welcome to the 181st live stream from the MisfitGamersStudios. I'm your host Vortex and this is D&D Discussions. On today's episode we have a new Druid subclass called the Circle of Lustre from Pokeniner. I'm really curious about this one. I only got to see an image really quickly of it, so looked colorful, looked fantastic, and I'm really curious to see what it comes up with because it's been a minute since we've had a Druid, and I think the last Druid we had was the Circle of the Leaf Druid from Kage. So that's the last one I can remember, so we'll see. But yeah, join us today and we'll see how this one fares. But first, let's get some updates because I don't think I just saw that Soul's here. We have some progress towards July's community stream of 6,000 already.
Sick.
Soul doesn't know how to spend their money on anything else.
Fair enough. I know Hecate's saving his up for some bio unlock.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
I'm really curious to see what Hecate wants for a bio unlock. I want to know what anyone wants for a bio unlock. That's crazy.
True that.
It's so funny. I make these things and I don't actually, you just throw stuff at the wall, see what sticks.
Sure. Kind
of mentality. And it's funny. You think, oh, this is such a good idea, and then no one uses it, and then you throw something like that out where it's like, yeah, that's kind of dumb. Like maybe when we have regular 50 viewers, maybe someone will care about that. I'm like, nope, people want it. Like, okay, whatever.
That's what we do it for.
I had an idea I wanted to pass by you. I had a great idea. I think it's a great idea. So let me pull this up real quick. We're not doing home review just yet. So I want to pull something up here. Ooh. No. Oh, that's why I don't want to be. I was in my portable drive.
Boom.
So,
all right, let's take a gander.
So I think we're relatively familiar with our background.
Fairly familiar.
I mean,
yes.
We had this on we have it on
rotation for a while.
We've had it on rotation. I mean, I've had this thing forever. I actually bought the rights to it, so we technically are allowed to use it. But it's been our background for a while in YouTube. I think here somewhere in Twitch, it's there.
Sure.
It's just kind of been a cool little thing, just kind of a generalized image, right? So, what I'm thinking is reaching out to our artists Sakura art and seeing if they would be able to redo these with our avatars.
Interesting.
So
that would be kind of fire.
Each of us picking and choosing which one we want to like be represented as, and
sure.
see if they could put our avatars in the same like little
in
thing.
the same little vibe.
These wouldn't necessarily be emotes. This would be just a full background image.
Yeah.
All of this would just be us instead of these things.
Dude, that would be wild. And you could probably even add in a couple of like TTRPG, have some people rolling dice at a table or something like that.
Easily, like I would swap out maybe like the elderly hardcore gamer, or I mean, I don't know. We would probably like do a vote on which ones we'd like throw out.
Sure.
But like probably gaming accessories we don't need.
Sure.
I like the bottom row. I think the bottom row would fit perfect.
I love the bottom row.
I think the bottom row is
We
good.
might not need the children gamer one, although, you know, it serves a purpose, but...
Yeah, but it's not really our vibe.
Yeah.
So I would say game accessories, children, and cheater, just because that's not really representative of what we are anyway.
Fair.
We could at least get rid of those three. Get rid of kid gamer. And then we could put elderly gamer up top.
And then have a whole another row for some other things.
We
okay.
could just add in
No, I'm here for that.
Ideas. So
I'm super here for that.
We might put out some feelers in the Discord for some ideas on what we should do.
Different silhouettes for us. Dude, I like that. That's very cool.
Yeah, so let's see. What other so other than that, other stuff planned. We are working on IRL live streaming. So if any of you were online,
was that Saturday or was that Sunday you did that?
I think that was Sunday we had poker, so that was Saturday. If anybody happened to be on Twitch on Saturday, may have seen me go live.
Okay.
For a little bit, and I was out on a walk, so
nice,
I took the gimbal out and the backpack out, tried to test a few things. It was nice. The microphone, I guess, was a pretty good success. Though when I rewatched the episode, there was quite a bit of static. Like every now and again, you would just hear like clicking of the microphone, and I wasn't quite sure what that was. So more testing
interesting. Okay,
needed.
I definitely liked the audio that I saw from that. I don't know if it was just a TikTok that you did or if it was a whatever video you posted. One of them in the Discord
video.
Yeah,
that was
like there was some clean audio in there. Like you could definitely tell the difference.
Well, and that's where I feel that I need to. Obviously, I put some money into this, so. You know, live streaming won't be our IRL streaming won't be like our bread and butter, but
sure.
You know, the gimbal will definitely allow for much better content now. I can actually put, more effort into my generated content. We'll be able to do a whole lot more. I'm really excited to do an actual IRL stream. I would love to set that up Friday. If I can get this working, because I am so close to getting this to work.
I would love that. I think that'd be a really cool deal.
I honestly think I've gotten what I need. I feel that at this point, my biggest holdup is going to be power.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure the Pi will be fine. It's the fact that the Pi is going to be probably pulling a decent amount of its max capacity, but I'm also going to have the headphones plugged in, and that receiver draws power. That's my only concern, is how much power the receiver is going to draw in excess.
Okay.
Which might be too much for the portable battery.
Interesting. Okay.
And if that's the case, then it's just on to the next phase of, what type of portable battery would I need?
What would be necessary in order to make that happen?
So.
All right.
Step by step.
Hey, we getting there though. We getting there. I'm stoked for it.
And it's all those things. If I just, I don't have a true plan of what to use all this stuff for, but there needs to be a plan, because I don't want to just have it and not use it.
I mean, yes, but we've already talked about so many different ways we can go about it, and it's hard to plan and address for stuff that feels outside of the realm of possibility. Now we actually can articulate what our limitations are, because we have limitations to speak of. And so when we go about talking about, hey, if we want to get together with other DMs, hey, if we want to go out to a place and do stuff, like we know what's feasible. We know what type of microphones we'll be able to have for them, like how we'll be able to facilitate them, how we'll be able to facilitate different cameras and stuff like that. So
yeah,
I feel like it has its value. You know, every time I hear people talk about it, like one of the biggest things they say is you got to spend money to make money, right? Like, and I totally get that. Like there are certain elements that you need to have almost as a prerequisite. Like you could do it the other way around, but you're in for like a much longer journey.
Oh yeah.
Doing that. So, you know, I feel like there's for sure a good amount of give and take. So I'm not mad at it.
Yeah. I also love learning new things and being able to adapt that to other situations, because, you know, the gimbal was part of the IRL streaming, but it's already going to, you know, influence how I do my videos now.
Right.
Same thing with the microphone. So, you know, I'm even, you know, like you mentioned, going places that are that we're gonna be attending for someone else's game, even, and being able to bring the setup to, like, you know, do either like small videos or a stream of something.
Right.
So I'm really excited. I think that if I can get this set up, I would love to give that a try this Friday.
Okay, dude, I'm here for it.
As long
that
as
would be clean.
Friday isn't anything. Yeah, no, Friday's normal. So I am totally down to try out our IRL stream on Friday. I might do some more. I don't know. The walk was kind of nice. I definitely, there was more people out and about than I expected, but it's kind of one of those things you just kind of have to ignore it. Like,
yeah.
You kind of have to just own it. And you're just like, yeah, I'm out here doing my thing. Like,
yeah, exactly.
If you want, but I got fans. What,
you know,
jealous?
we be doing stuff. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I see other people out there in the world, like, you know, I would say,
and that's something I never do. That's, I think, the weird thing for me.
Well,
you know how normally, like, when you do something or when you own something, there's that that thing that happens where suddenly you see it everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I hardly ever see like people streaming out.
My correction to that statement is we don't see it out there in the world, but like when you see videos like online, you know that there are people watching that out there in the real world.
Oh, yeah.
There are plenty of people out there that see that. So it's like, at some point in time, you have to recognize that it's somewhat commonplace, because everyone's seen a video of these things out in the wild. It's just not necessarily everyone's seen it themselves out in the wild, you know? So it's you know, it's real. You just because you've never seen $1 million doesn't mean it doesn't exist, right?
Yeah.
You know, just because you haven't seen it doesn't mean like this isn't like a part of what happens, you know? First time I saw a bunch of kids filming a TikTok out in the wild, like I was like, this really happens just like out here in the middle of a grocery store? Like y'all are just doing stuff. I'm like, all right,
you
know, go live your life.
And that's the weird thing for me. Like maybe just because of the doxing aspect is it was really weird for me to just, you know, be outdoors and doing it, which is why I was like, I'm not going to do it from my house. I'm going to walk a little bit, go further away, and then I'm going to figure out like, you know, just in case there was any way for someone to, you know, find out where I was. I'm like, I'm not going to be anywhere near my house.
Sure.
Like that's my safety net.
Fair enough.
But yeah, going to like a store and just like going live like inside, like while I'm shopping, I don't know if I could do that. That's a little bit too public for me. Like I don't mind, you know, maybe doing my, you know, nightly walks and doing, you know, like that would be kind of cool. Like just going live on one of my nightly walks and just, you know, discovering some stuff. And definitely taking videos when I go backpacking is now going to be a thing.
Nice. But very nice.
Yeah, it's.
I was talking to one of my friends about this a while ago. Way back in the day, I used to do this thing called geocaching, where you just run around like.
I used to. I haven't done it in years.
Yeah, same. But like,
so much fun.
It was such a good time. Like that would be such a clean thing to like go do. Like, although you know the whole point of geocaching is a lot of the stuff's supposed to be like secret, and you're not supposed to know where stuff is, but. I mean, a lot of times you end up in like the weirdest fucking places, but sometimes the coolest fucking places too. So
people get really creative on where to take you for that. So
yeah,
crazy.
Good time.
So maybe more IRL streaming soon, especially since I have this set up. There's just no reason not to.
Heck yeah.
And then. Yeah, I think once I finish this up this week, then it's gonna be I think this weekend, once I get this done, it'll be a lot more one-shot rivals work.
Okay.
I think I need to sit down, hammer a bunch of that out, and then I might just try to hammer some things out and send them over to you for review. It's like I think it's better when we do it together because it's a lot quicker to go back and
I agree.
forth. But it may be worth just, you know,
putting together some of those, like, yeah.
Or maybe just both of us, like we select like 5 characters, we each draft up a general idea, and then we can come together, sit down, and instead of having to think of it on the spot, we're just like, what'd you have for this? And then we hash it out right then and there. Like, we already have a general idea of what we're going to try and talk out. And if we both have the same idea, done. We don't even have to talk about it. Like, you had that idea, I had that idea, move on.
Yeah,
like, you had the same speed, you had the same damage, move on.
Cool,
like,
cool.
Okay, what'd you have for the special? Like, that's... We might
I feel that.
So I might send you a list, and then just try to hammer out as much as you can, and then we'll get together on a call or something.
Okay. I'm not mad at that.
Let's see. I think that's it. I think right now we're waiting on the July community stream, and yeah, once I get the pie done, we'll get One Shot Rivals moving forward. Still hoping to launch that by the end of July. And I might even, depending on how switching over to Claude goes, I might even be able to start tinkering with the website by the end of the summer.
Would be cool shit. That would be fucking cool shit.
I have to just figure out what we want on the website. That's something that we haven't really talked about. Like,
sure,
because what do other? It's so weird because I don't know what content creators put on their websites. Like, if you're a live streamer, I mean, what do I have a website for? Like, you come here, you know what I mean?
I honestly feel like the way we can set it up, even if we just start small, like super duper small, I feel like it would be cool to make it like our one-stop shop for everything, instead of having to like go to our YouTube page, go to our TikTok page, go to all these different places to like find our content. You can just go to one place and you've got all of our videos linked in like beautiful libraries. You've got all of our TikToks, and we could just have it set up and laid out for, because you can't really like organize TikToks in categories or even YouTube shorts in the category. But like if we did that,
I don't know. We wouldn't be able to like host all of the. I don't know if we would want to host the videos, or if we would,
honestly, you could just link the videos.
Them, embed them.
So like there's I totally think there's ways we could do it. I think the Oracle is going to be a huge part of that. I think a lot of our homebrew review content is going to be a big part of that. A lot of our
I think that's going to be. I'm not really thinking about the digital asset content. Is the links to the episodes. Having like the homebrew review, like your formats available, so people can actually read them over. And then of course we have the option of discussing members option. And what to justifiably, like, I don't want to paywall anything, but what do you justifiably offer
for free versus what?
Like the Oracle will have, I don't know, like I don't know how you do something to where you can't easily like spoof it, but without an account login. Like maybe just do that where the Oracle, you can't access the Oracle without having an account, and then if you don't have a membership, you only get so many questions. And then that way it would just keep it low. That's what I'm thinking. Is then the Oracle would definitely be for members. And I guess, I'll probably end up trying to do. I don't know if I have any justification for doing a newsletter, so I don't really know what we could offer in terms of that kind of content. But I'm sure that my IRL streaming could easily then just be member only. I could easily figure out a way to do like member only streams, because then at that point I could absolutely talk myself into doing more streams if it's making, like I've always said, at this point the only thing that's really holding me back from doing this more often is just simply that I'm already stretched thin. That without
you would have to provide more value.
But if we have a membership that I can do, walking streams, 3 nights a week, or do a hiking stream once a month, or just do an IRL stream, just doing whatever as that option, and that suffices for justifying a membership. Like that would absolutely get me to do little things here and there, even if it's just like an hour a day, a half hour a day, even if it's just a dedicated, I will do this for the members. Maybe it's like every Wednesday I'll do an hour AMA with just the members, versus like the other days I'll do a walk and it'll just be me chit-chatting, and then I don't know what people would want for that, but that's kind of where I would definitely let those that are the biggest supporters would have a say
of the biggest
content that they would be able to get, because the content that I want to do is always going to be the content that we get the most value out of, which is going to be the public content. But if they're going to pay for it, do you like the walking streams? Do you like the hiking streams? Do you like the bar streams? Like, do you want an AMA? Do you want to watch me play more video games just one-on-one? Like, maybe that's the one where maybe I do a stream where I do play with people, but it's only members.
Right.
And then it's only on like a members only stream kind of thing.
Okay.
Something like that. Just trying to think of ways that we can add value to the brand.
Yeah. No, I like that. I think that's very cool. I think that'll ultimately, kind of like what we've been doing with like our community streams, it'll overall like evolve into what it's meant to be, what will be the most valuable for like you said, the people that come and watch us, the people that want to be here, the people that want to be a part of these things. So yeah, I definitely am excited to see how it evolves through over time. But
me as well. I'm very excited to see what we come up with and what we make. I'm also really curious to see what we decide to do for merch, because I really need to start putting a budget aside for the stream again. And
I don't know how intrusive it would be, because I know we were talking about like shirts and stuff like that being, hard to make for just like a couple of us, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know if something like stickers would be easy enough to just be like
stickers.
We could just have a bunch of them,
right?
And it doesn't have to be like, I don't know how hard it would be.
A graphic designer to help us not only expand the logo, but come up with stuff, right? Like, what else could we come up with that is other than our avatars, right?
Sure.
What other things could we actually do? So, but I like the idea of stickers. Stickers dope. I think, especially, with the, I totally dig stickers.
Yep.
And as a hiker, like, stickers are great.
That's the business.
So,
that's the business.
I'm all right with that. Maybe we'll look into some stickers for our avatars, and I'll get a graphic designer to fix the logo and not fix, but just update, get it nice and done. Magnetic stickers are great. Are those even stickers, or they're just magnets?
I feel like magnetic stickers are magnets. Yes,
but
100%.
But those are the vinyl ones that can be reapplied, like the window ones that just
come
right off.
Yeah. Those are kind of cool. They're a
little bit more expensive, but that's kind of that. The idea would be that they would be much more durable than just like a standard sticker that
right.
Will rip. Good idea, Hecate.
Love that. Love that.
All right. Well, I haven't seen Pokeniner in the chat. Gave them quite a bit of time. I don't know if I have any other updates either. Other than Friday maybe being
we've been doing
our IRL stream and me just continuing working on things in the background. But I'm excited. I might actually be done so much quicker once I switch over to Claude.
Really?
I'm hoping so. Like, I'm not trying to give I'm not trying to like assume that it's going to be a complete game changer, but it's possible that it will accelerate the process by leaps and bounds compared to what I've been doing. So
sick. No, I'm hyped to see what that progress looks like.
Me as well, but we have a review to get to.
Yes, indeed. I did ping them just in case they are around, so hopefully they will find their way here, or again, as always, there's always the VOD that they can go check out afterwards.
Always the VOD.
Boom.
All right. All right, cool. So,
Scrub-a-dub-dub.
do a quick little intro and then we'll be good to go. Yeah.
Sounds groovy. Oh, let's stay forgetting that.
Oh, there we go. A little bit better. More normal lighting.
Back to it again. Oh, see, there we go.
I think I need to brighten your camera now.
I can never tell when I'm up in the corner like that. Oh, that's better.
Yeah, much better. All right. So as always, chat, when you hear greetings gamers, feel free to spam hi YouTube, and hopefully I won't fuck up this intro. All right. So Circle of Lustre by Pokeniner. It is a Druid subclass. All right. Intro time. Here we go. Greetings, gamers, and welcome to another homebrew review from the Misfit Gamer Studios. I'm your host, Vortex. That is your co-host, Kage. And this is the Circle of Lustre, a Druid subclass coming from Pokeniner. Really interested to see what this one looks like because I got a very small glimpse at the imagery. It looks very colorful, and I really am curious because Lustre, if I remember correctly, we looked it up, and it's chandelier in French.
I think so.
What exactly does that mean? I don't know, but we are going to find out. So join us today as we look at the Circle of Lustre, a Druid subclass. Pay no attention to the text below.
It's not my fault. It's definitely my fault. 100% my fault.
But join us today and we will see exactly what this has in store for us. All right, not bad.
Beautiful.
Let's go. Okay, so we have the Circle of Lustre. I hope I'm saying that correctly.
I was very curious. Like, I tried my best to never actually say it because I'm like, I don't know how this is appropriately pronounced. So
I mean, I'm not great at French,
yeah,
and it's very much heavy on the lustre.
Yeah, right.
But I think lustre or lustre will be, good enough for us for right now. But yes, this is going to be a Druid subclass from Pokeniner. So starting with the description, as always. And my lesson to you, my students, as the world grows more complex and advanced in coming times, stand firm in the humble beginnings of life and creation. Recognize that we are but simple creatures in the vast multiverse, similar to a grain of sand among the shore. Only through understanding that simplicity can you grow into something truly wondrous. Lessons of Stellardris, the Crystal Keeper. The sheer beauty and magnificence of the gemstones throughout the material plane are inspiring to many druids. These gemstones come in all sorts of forms, and each refract the light. Each encapsulates its own unique way. Each refracts the light they encapsulate in its own unique way. Even the most complex creations in the world can have the simplest designs and lessons within them.
Interesting.
Crystals would definitely explain the color that I saw.
Got you. So it's like gemstones and crystals and okay.
I'm digging this.
Oh, wild. I do like the color schema on here and like the kind of, I'm curious, like,
why do I just get like immediately the meme of the I got the power Whitney Houston.
Yeah. I got the power.
That's exactly what I look at this and that's what I feel like it's doing.
It almost feels like, according to this picture, it almost looks like these gems are something that's transforming their body.
It does look like they're absorbing it almost.
Yeah. So like, I don't know if they're manifesting it or what, but okay.
Well, let's get to the first ability at level 2 because we have crystalline body.
Crystalline body. All right, legit.
Or crystalline. I guess that would be more correct pronunciation. So, you gain the ability to grow magical stones along your body to protect yourself. As an action, you can expend a use of your wild shape feature to enhance your body for 1 minute. You can choose to revert back to your original form before the effect ends, no action required. While you are in this form, you aren't wearing any armor. Your armor class equals 13 plus your wisdom modifier. Can you double check what the standard would be for a druid? Or what would be the standard AC for
standard for anybody that's not wearing armor is 10 plus your dexterity modifier.
Gotcha. So this is giving you a base of +3 and then switching to your wisdom modifier.
Yes.
And then the base armor class increases to 14 at 6th level, 15 at 10th level, 16th at 14th level, and 17 at 18th level. I'm digging that.
17?
That's a hell of a progression.
Because if you max out your wisdom, you're going to get a +5 in it. And it doesn't say that there's a cap that you use. So 17 plus 5, what is it, a 22? You're going to max out at a 22 AC later?
Unarmed?
That's wild.
I like that. It ends with your crystalline body gains additional features at certain levels in this class. And I love that we're going to have that callback. Pokeniner knows that we love that.
Yes.
So I'm really curious. What can you put together really quick a monk or a barbarian at the same level? What would their unarmored
so
AC max
theirs
out at?
is a little bit different because unarmored defense, so that 3 that you're getting from that is a static bonus that you're getting based off of this. With monks, they have a different type of bonus. They both have a base of their constitution. One uses their strength, the other uses their wisdom.
Gotcha.
So it'll be, I think it's 8 plus constitution modifier plus strength or wisdom modifier, right? So if you have a maximum of 5 in your constitution, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you will get your foundation up to a 13 like this is here. And then on top of that, you get to add whatever else to it. So actually, no, I'm sorry. It's not a +8, it's a +10. You start off a base of 10 and then you add on top of that like everybody else does. So basically actually this is almost comparable, except it gets a little bit higher with the exception because their unarmored defense maxes out at a 20. If both your constitution is a 20 and your other stat is a 20, then your AC will end up being a 20 because both of them will be +5.
And this is skirting 22. So
22 at level 18, which is not bad. And from what it sounds like, it's only when you use this,
exactly.
use your wild shape this way.
Base, it's only your wild shape
Yes.
using this. So I dig it. I think that's why I wanted to double check, because those the monks and barbarians are the only ones that I know off the top of my head who would be comparable unarmored.
Yeah.
And I wanted to make sure that this wasn't like just wiping the floor with them.
Correct.
But if it's going to be comparable, especially dedicated to a single ability, I'm here for it.
Agreed. And
I feel like that's a good solid progression. 6, 10, 14, 17, that feels nice.
Yeah.
And I'm really interested to see what else that does, because it just immediately tells you this is gonna keep getting better. All right, so also at level 2 we get the Lustre Purge. The magical gems that have enriched your body increase your magical senses. You gain proficiency in the Arcana skill. If you are already proficient in it, you gain proficiency in one of the following skills of your choice: Insight, Medicine, Nature, or Perception. I really would have, again,
expertise.
Just do expertise as a number rule. Just allow expertise.
I totally love it.
Do it. It's going to be in the ADMG. That is definitely going to be something that we suggest in the ADMG, is that expertise should not only be a rogue thing that doesn't make any sense. It makes sense that they get to start with it.
It makes sense that it's a part of your subclass or your class. Great.
But it shouldn't just be locked to you're the only one that can get smart enough.
Tell me nobody else can be an expert at something. That's just I agreed.
You receive this benefit regardless of the skill proficiency you gain from this feature. Your proficiency bonus is doubled for any ability check you make that uses Arcana. You receive this benefit regardless of the skill proficiency you gain from this feature. So let me read that again. So you gain proficiency in Arcana.
Okay.
If you're already proficient, you gain a different one. Your proficiency bonus is doubled for any ability check that you make that uses Arcana. And you'll receive this regardless. So you'll receive it regardless if you already were proficient. So basically it's saying that you get proficient in Arcana, and even if you already were, you will also.
So that's basically what expertise is getting double. So
this is just giving expertise without saying.
Yeah. So this gives you innate expertise. And if you already are trained in it, you just get another skill for free.
Okay. That's exactly what we want. Like, Pokeniner, congratulations. That's exactly what we want. We want other options for expertise, and that's what this exactly is. So I'm okay with it. There's nothing wrong with that. After you take damage from a spell, you can use your reaction to reduce the damage taken. The damage is reduced to equal to your Arcana skill modifier. Okay, so what's the highest skill modifier you can have?
Equal to, wait, hold on. Oh, specifically your Arcana skill modifier.
Yeah, so what's like the highest skill modifier?
Well, your proficiency bonus will get up to a +6.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's saying you're gaining expertise in Arcana, which means you get to add double that, so that's going to be a base of 12. And then on top of that, you get to add whatever your intelligence modifier is.
Okay.
So, you know, if you have a base of a +12 plus your intelligence modifier, which could be up to 5, that's potentially 17.
Wow, that's a decent amount. That's a lot at second level to...
You're not going to get that at second level. So your proficiency bonus at second level is a 2.
It's not going to be that high. So,
yes.
Right, yeah, that's going to upgrade over time. Okay. So the highest they would be able to do is maybe what? Like 4 or 5 points of damage at this point?
Or if they maxed out their intelligence for whatever reason, even though this is not an intelligence-based class, they would be able to get up to a 9 at this level. Okay,
so for a min-maxer, that does feel a lot like at level 2, but I get it. Like if you're min-maxing for that dedication, I get it.
The question is, the way you read this, do you have to have this crystalline thing active?
It does not mention needing crystalline at all.
So this is just period.
This is just period, is you gain Arcana, your double, or every Arcana option is doubled, and when you take damage from a spell, you can reduce it.
I'll say
and you can use this effect a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended when you finish a long rest. That's not bad.
Let me look at the monk, because this sounds almost exactly like deflect missiles for a monk, except it's not ranged weapons, it's spells.
Yeah,
which is interesting.
So that would only be at like the max level, though. That's if you had max proficiency bonus, max intelligence. Yeah, but if you could min max this at max level, you could easily get more than 17 points of damage reduction on a spell.
Yeah,
which is just absolutely monstrous. I kind of like it though. Like, I like the concept.
So when do you actually get it? Dedicated weapon, deflect missiles. You get it at 3rd level. Okay, so when you get your subclass, just like this. And theirs is a D10 plus your dexterity modifier plus your monk level. So, you know, it's a different calculation, but it's a very similar thing.
This is just much more usable. Like, I think this is much
more simpler, much more direct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I'm here for it.
Yeah.
I like.
I could have seen this being like tied in with the crystalline body, but I'm not sure that it's like absolutely required.
I would say if it were tied in with the crystalline body, I'd want to make it a little bit more powerful. Because you're only able to use it when that's up, and you're using resources.
And a reaction, yeah. So it's almost like you could use it as reaction, or, no, I guess that's really the best way to do it. Is
honestly,
use it as a reaction.
I kind of look at this as like, hey, I manifest a crystal on my body in reaction to you doing something, and it absorbs a portion of the spell's damage, or whatever the case may be.
I get that.
Okay, cool.
All right, so then at 6th level, we get Lustrous Beacon. You gain the ability to channel magic into crystals along the ground. As an action or a bonus action while in your crystalline body form, I like that distinction, you can grow a crystal in an unoccupied space that you can see within 5 feet of you on the ground. You can only have one crystal created by this feature at a time, and any crystal that remains when a new one is created, it turns to dust. The crystal has an AC of 20 and has 1 hit point. If the crystal requires a save against a spell, it uses your saving throw as its own. It takes no damage or effects if it succeeds. If it's destroyed, it fails, or it is destroyed if it fails. As long as the crystal is active and you are within 60 feet of it, you can cast a spell from that crystal as if you were in its place, but you must use your own senses. So you can't sense from it, but if you can see the target from your position, you can attack from it, but you can't attack a target that you can't see, but it can.
So real quick, when it's talking about saves, do you read that as if the crystal itself needs to make a save, or if somebody else needs to make a save against what the crystal's doing to it?
It takes no damage if it says it requires a save against a spell. I'm thinking that means that if a spell targets it and the target requires a save, it uses your save. That's what.
So basically, I roll the save, and if I succeed the save, then the crystal's okay.
Yes.
Okay.
It's basically just access.
I thought that the crystal had something where it would make somebody else make a save, and they're just using my spell save DC. Yeah. But okay.
It doesn't say how big the crystal is, but I'm assuming it's as big as a medium creature. Like it's probably a decent sized crystal. Like it's probably not like a tiny little.
Because I'll say
we don't know the last of it yet.
At the end of that line, it said something like, "If it succeeds, nothing happens."
Yeah. So it takes no damage or effect if it succeeds the saving throw. So
even if it says on a success, these things happen, none of those things happen to it.
Yeah.
Okay, because like if Fireball was cast, theoretically you take half damage.
But this thing doesn't.
Okay.
This thing doesn't take. It just says if you save, you save.
Okay.
So the last thing it says is additionally, as an action, you can expend a spell slot of first level or higher to have the crystal explode and scatter at nearby creatures. Creatures within a 15-foot radius of the crystal must succeed a dexterity saving throw against your spell save DC. A target takes 2d10 force damage on a failed save, or half as much damage on a success. When you detonate this crystal using a spell slot of second level or higher, the damage increases by 1d10 for each slot above first. Okay, so I like the detonation. I like the spell casting through it. Neither of these are bad. I would say I'd probably adjust the damage. I would probably do force and piercing myself, or slashing.
What is the damage?
It's 2d10 force damage, period. Just force damage. I would add a force damage roll and either a piercing or a slashing roll for shrapnel. Like it's a crystal.
Sure.
Add some damage. I'd let the explosion bypass magical resistance. Like the explosion itself,
I will say
counts as magical for effective resistance.
Oh, you're talking about the slashing damage.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Just it explodes and then does that. I wouldn't mind something like that, but I do like that it costs a spell slot to do that too. It's not just like a bonus action. I do like that it costs.
Yes,
that's what it's like its own version of Fireball at that point. It's just a lower tier, but it's only a spell slot.
I mean, 2d10 to just explode in a certain spot. Like I kind of like the creative use of spell slots. That's not done enough. Like you do it with Divine Smites for paladins. They can use their spell slots to do their thing, but like not very often can you do other things with spell slots other than just cast spells. So I totally like that. I like the fact that if you're in your crystalline form, I can bonus action pop a crystal up and then action blow it up, because theoretically there's nothing stopping you from doing that all in one turn, which is kind of cool. But if you're not, you can set it up for yourself and like maybe use it as a trap for somebody coming through a door, or like who knows what else.
I will say that I would need more information on like the size, shape, and what these crystals actually are, and like a little bit more of the actual physicalness of it, because it is just a crystal appears. Doesn't really tell me exactly what that is. Is it one giant crystal? Is it just like gems on the ground? Would be nice to know what the intent was.
Yes.
Does it occupy a space, or is it?
Does it not say?
It says it's an unoccupied space.
Yeah.
But it doesn't say if it occupies said space.
Yes.
That would be enough for me to know what we're dealing with.
I would also say
it should almost be like it acts as difficult terrain, and if a creature ends or starts their turn on it, it detonates, automatically.
Sure.
So at that point, it would say that's why it has to be unoccupied. Like it could also be a trap. That wouldn't be a terrible way of using it, or just an alternative way of using it.
I also imagine you're in a cave, and the surfaces in which you are walking on are the exact same surfaces in which the walls are made out of.
Yeah.
For me, I feel like it would probably be a little bit more restrictive, because no matter where you go, there's ground, but it feels like it would make a lot more sense. It feels like it'd be a little bit better if it told me what type of surface it can grow out of, rather than just the fact that it's the ground.
Gotcha.
Because like, I feel like I should be able to make it come out of a cave wall. Like maybe not like a wooden tavern wall,
I got you,
but
yeah. I think that would definitely be up to DM interpretation for sure. I think there's a lot of room to decide, hey DM, can I fudge the numbers here because everything's the ground right now.
Sure.
I definitely, if you said, hey bro, I'm underground, everything's the floor, I'm not gonna argue with you. I'm gonna be like, that's fine.
Wild.
It's good. I think it could it's at 6th level. I don't mind how much damage it does. It doesn't need to do buttloads of damage.
I mean, it's a 1st level spell, so I mean, I feel like that's decent for a 1st level spell. 2d10 force damage. Yeah. And I do like the fact that it's force damage because it's one of the rarest resistances that's out there.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, that's not bad. All right, going to 10th level, improve crystalline body. Your illustrious body can repel hostile magic. When in your crystalline body form, whenever you make a saving throw that uses your charisma or intelligence, you can make use of your wisdom save bonus for the throw instead.
That's sick.
You can swap charisma and intelligence for wisdom. Is that what I'm reading right here?
Yes. Basically, any mental stat save you need to make, you make with your wisdom.
Why charisma?
If somebody's trying to
intelligence.
Like if somebody's trying to like dominate you or something like that. Or if somebody's trying to, a lot of times those are like charisma saving throws or different things to detect illusions. A lot of the times those will be charisma saving throws.
I'd almost want it to be strength and intelligence because you don't get a lot of strength saving throws, but for the fact that it is like enhancing you, I wouldn't mind like being able to make that charisma either dexterity or strength. I think those might be more beneficial. I get the idea of
the mental
more
stats
options, but I just don't feel like charisma makes much sense for the build and for the lore. And why would that really like enhance?
The way I look at it is because they're all mental stats. It's like your wisdom has gotten to the point where it's like all encompassing, that it protects your mental faculties, and that's what both intelligence, charisma, and wisdom saving throws are trying to attack, is your mental faculties. And so the way I look at it is your wisdom is able to cover all of those aspects because you have channeled it through these crystals, basically.
Okay. Yeah, I see. I don't. I have no like argument against the logic behind that.
Sure.
I think for me, I think I would do 1 and 1. I think I would do 1 mental and 1 physical, just because it is a physical body. So to only get a mental perk is where I'm just like, that could have been divided a little bit.
Sure.
But again, that's just personal preference.
Okay.
But we do have another level 10, so maybe this is where we get another one, because this one could cover physical. So we have refractive presence, level 10. You can refract the magic of you and your allies. When you or the crystal from your illustrious beacon feature are willing targets by a spell, you must know if either are being targeted. You can use your reaction to ignore any damage and effects, and instead redirect the spell to a number of creatures you can see within range as if you cast it. The number of creatures you can choose to redirect the spell to equals half your proficiency bonus rounded up. The original spell must only target one creature and can't have a range of self. You can use this effect any number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses as you finish a long rest. So what this does is basically when you or your beacon are the target of a spell, I don't know why it specifies willingly targeted by a spell. Meaning you must know if either being targeted.
Maybe it's the caster has to be willingly targeting you instead of like forcibly targeting you or unknowingly targeting you.
Whenever
Although I don't really know how that would work.
Are willingly targeted.
It feels like
it's followed up by you must know if either being targeted. So maybe it's the idea of no AoE spells, and you have to know about it. It's not something that you can just do.
Like if somebody's invisible and they're about to cast a spell or something like that.
That might be what Pokeniner is going for.
Okay.
Because the fact that it says you must know if either being targeted, meaning like if you're back or if you're around a wall or if you're too far away from your crystal and someone attacks it, if you don't know it's being targeted, you can't use this. because your character did not see it get targeted. You know to do it because you have to use your reaction. So I'm just assuming that what it is you can't be surprised. You have to know it's coming.
Okay.
And instead of doing the save, you use your reaction to just decide, no, it's going to go to a different target.
Okay.
But what I don't understand here, here's something I don't quite understand. It says that you can redirect it to a number of creatures equal to half your proficiency bonus. But the spell has to be one that, as if you cast it, right? But specifically, the spell has to be one that is only targeting one person. So is this saying that I'm taking a single target and now I can cast it up to 3 times?
I'll say it doesn't specifically say the original spell has to target only one person, just that you and or your beacon have to be one of those targets.
No, right here. The original spell must only target one creature and cannot have a reach of self. But it also has to target you. That's why there's a little bit of weird here, because it says it has to target you or your beacon, but then it says it can't target self. So what does that mean if the original spell must only target one creature?
So like,
but then I can target up to 3 creatures with it. Does that
that's
mean
like I'm imagining I cast Firebolt at your beacon.
Yes.
That targets one creature. Casting Firebolt. Boom. All right. You're going to use this feature to then redirect it as if you cast it, but you can cast it up to a number of creatures you can see within range.
So am I dividing the one Firebolt among 3? Or am I casting Firebolt 3 times?
The way it reads, it sounds like you are casting Firebolt that many times. It says
you refract. I think, well, it says to redirect the spell to a number of creatures. It doesn't say recast. So it's probably like, so Firebolt does 1d6.
But it does say is as if you cast it, right?
I think as if you cast it as in from you. So it's like instead of like from the caster, I don't redirect the casters. So I have to use like my distance, right?
Sure.
So if it says, within 30 feet, I can't cast within 30 feet of the caster. I have to target within 30 feet of me. I think that's what it means, is you are just now in control of the spell. But I also think that it has to mean that you're dividing it. So if you take whatever that damage was, they roll the damage, let's say it was 8, you're dividing 8 among however many targets. That's how I would do it, and that's how I interpret it.
Okay.
Because if you're able to take any spell that's targeted at you and triple it, because I'm assuming that you have 6 proficiency points at that point. You know what I mean? Because you can do half. You have 6 proficiency points.
Well, no. At 10th level, you're only going to have like, what, 4?
Well, I just meant like at max level, though. Like
at max level, you have
any
6.
spell, you could just go, no, I tripled. Like, that's what I have a hard time with, is any spell that Power Word Kill, I can triple Power Word Kill.
Although theoretically, Power Word Kill doesn't do damage.
Well, yeah.
You're just killing that many people.
But it just says, no, but remember, it just says a willing target by a spell. You use your reaction to ignore any damage and effect.
Yes.
It's not just...
And then it says...
And then I redirect the spell to a number of creatures that I can see. So literally, this means I could take Power Word Kill and go, no.
And then you could just say, those 3 people are dead.
Or what does Power Word Kill divided by 3 do?
So again, if you're going to divide Power Word, so you would have 100 hit points. They have to be under 100 hit points. So in this situation, they would have to be under 33 hit points. So you instantly kill 3 key people that are under 33 hit points.
That's the way that you can interpret it. Yeah.
And if, see, my initial thought was going to be Disintegrate. Somebody casts Disintegrate on a single target, and then I split that. Right? It does X amount of damage, but if that damage happens to kill them, their entire body is just vaporized. It's just gone. So, like...
Yeah. Finger of Death and get zombies have killed... Oh. That's where I'm saying is like, this just needs to be tightened up and really clarified, because I think that it's intended to divide the damage. I think that's the idea. Is instead of being the target of one spell, I'm going to take that spell and divide the damage between multiple targets. I think that's what it's meant to be read as. However, without that clarification, it's a little dangerous. And there are some spells that this doesn't account for, like Power Word Kill.
Yeah.
And like a Finger of Death is a great one. Someone does Finger of Death on you and you go, no, I do your minion. By the way, that minion, because it's from me, that minion's now my zombie.
The way I would honestly clean this up is just say, basically, it get rid of the aspect of I can do it to multiple other creatures. Just reflect the spell. If it's supposed to only target one person, like it's gonna go back onto one person. You know what I mean? Like, even if you wanted to do it at a reduced amount, so it's not as powerful as it was going out, like that's fine, you know? But I think that if you're gonna be able to reflect a spell and its effects, like meaning I get to implement those effects, you can't always downgrade an effect.
Yeah.
Right? Like you can't always like find a percentage of that effect that's accurate. Like if somebody goes prone, what, were they just gonna go down to a knee? Like, no, they're gonna go prone. If someone's stunned, like will they only get like lose a portion of their turn? Like you have to apply the whole thing. So it feels like, without getting too into the weeds and pedantic, the easiest way to do it is just say, hey, you can reflect this back at either the caster or somebody else within a certain range.
Because then think about other spells like Charm Person. If you could redirect that back on the caster,
how you gonna yeah, especially if you can,
and then how fucked up would that be? Like Charm Person, no, in fact the entire enemy team's now charmed. Like there's some tweaking that needs to be figured out. If it's just a 1-to-1, that's fine, but again, dividing it between people, you start to think, well, what kind of spells? Because it doesn't specifically say that the spell has to do damage, it just says you can ignore any damage, meaning that if there is damage, you can ignore it and any effect, and then instead redirect the spell as if you cast it. Like there's I feel like that's just way too powerful almost at any level without clarification. And
how many times can you use this?
Equal to your proficiency bonus.
So this is not only is this a free counter spell,
perfectly
that
counter spell
that ignores how powerful the spell is. If it's a 9th level spell, it doesn't matter. If it targets only me, I can turn it back on you. Like at 10th, like even at 10th level,
it's almost like it has to read like you can do this to spells equal to like half or 1/4 your level. So right now you'd only get up to 5th level spells or 30th
I would say like it can work on spells of a level that you can cast.
Okay,
like just easy
you can cast.
Yeah, like if you can cast 9th level spells, sure, you can do it to a 9th level spell. You know, and I don't necessarily
like I wouldn't even mind just putting a cap at 5th level spells. Like just purely for how powerful
I will say this.
Mind just saying, hey, you know what, you can do this freely to 5th level spells.
I would say if you're gonna cap it to the proficiency bonus, I'm okay with that. If you're gonna do it up to your level of casting, I would say you can only do that like once a day.
Yeah. I honestly, I just think that the problem that it really runs into is there are certain spells that just don't divide. So I think you're right with getting rid of that. But I think capping it at level 5, there's still so many valuable spells that this can be used on. But even after you get past level 5, most of those spells are utility and not nearly as much of like direct threat, I would think.
And I will say this, it'll work on that spell even if you upcast it past level 5. So say if I wanted to cast Fireball, but at 6th level, I can not Fireball.
It's still a 5th level spell.
It's still a lower level spell. You just upcast it, so I can still affect it.
I would 100% agree that it doesn't. Yeah, upcast doesn't matter. As long as the base level spell is 5th or lower, this works. Sure. And I think Hecate put it in the chat, thinking of something like a Arcana check contested, like using like a +10 plus the spell's level to see if you can redirect it. That was Hecate's idea. I'm thinking, why not give them free up to level 5, and then anything past level 5, if they really want to redirect it, then they get a skill check.
Sure.
That is harder by the spell.
What do you have the ability to cast at 10th level?
I want to say 4th level. No, you get by 10th level, you should have 6th level spells.
10th level, you get 6th level spells at 11th level. So you're on the money when it comes to 5th level spells. So if you cap it at 5th level spells and then make a save, because even what Hecate is talking about, having to roll for it, that is basically how counterspell works. If you want to counterspell a spell I cast Counterspell at 3rd level, and I'm trying to counterspell a 6th level spell, right? Then I have to roll high enough to basically counter that spell. Yeah. Yes.
And I like that. I think that would be a much cleaner way, is just cap it as you get free up to 5th. After that, you have to contest. And it's definitely extremely hard to contest. Like, it should be a very difficult roll. But even if it is just 10 plus the spell's level, at that point, it's a 16, 17, 18, and 19. Yeah. You're basically just max, and then you don't, especially if you don't give them any like bonuses to that. That is just a flat.
Although, if it is an Arcana check, they're pretty fucking good at Arcana checks.
Oh, yeah, they do get the bonus to Arcana. So that would kind of make it a moot point.
I mean, slightly. I mean, shoot, if we're going to do it, why not start it at 15? The base at 15 plus the spell's level. Right?
Yeah, that would,
because then it would be 21, 22, 20, like all the way up to like 25.
So it would still be within their range.
It would still be challenging. But they would have. Did it say they get advantage on those checks? I don't think it does.
No, they get double.
They just get double the proficiency.
Yeah. Okay. I like that. I actually like that a lot. I think doing it that way, just starting it at base 15 plus the spells level, that right there would give them a run for their money.
Okay.
All right, and then moving on to level 14, we have improved crystalline body. So we just had improved crystalline body, and now we have improved crystalline body again.
So I think this was back to what they were talking about originally, about how it was gonna get additional features. So this is an extra improvement to the crystalline body. So all of this is just innate on that.
Gotcha. So at level 14, the gemstones around you bless your crystalline body feature with new abilities. While you were in your crystalline body form, you gain the stated effects below, similar to being under the effects of the Investiture of Stone spell. Not familiar with that. 6th level spell, 10-minute concentration. It's a proc spread across your body. You gain the following benefits: resistance to bludgeoning. You have your small earthquake. Okay, cool. And that's basically all of this is. Okay, so you have resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage from non-magical weapons. You can use your reaction to create a small earthquake on the ground in a 15-foot radius centered on you. Other creatures on the ground must succeed on a dexterity saving throw or be knocked prone. You can move across difficult terrain made of earth or stone without spending extra movement. You can move through solid earth or stone as if it were air without destabilizing it, but you can't end your movement there. If you do so, you are ejected to the nearest unoccupied space, and you are stunned until the end of your next turn. I like all of this. The only thing I would add is that you can activate your earthquake from your stone presence thing.
I like that. The
beacon.
Yeah.
Honestly, the just this one right here, being able to activate the earthquake from your beacon would be fucking solid. Because then I could just drop it, walk up to 60 feet away, and then just knock prone a bunch of people across the map, and then explode it.
With that same vein, I would give your little crystalline thing immunity to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage
from non-magical sources. Yeah,
just that thing. Like, you get resistance, but it gets immunity, so they have to attack it with something else.
Yeah, in order for honestly, instead of doing another improved crystalline body, you could call this one like beacon connection or enhanced beacon, like pairing or something. Just a way to like say that like both you and your beacon are now getting that upgrade.
Right.
I like that. I think that's really cool.
Not gonna lie, I wouldn't even be mad at you being able to have a second one out at a time.
Oh, that might. Well, we got another one, so let's see what glimmering. So yeah, so for this one, I just think the earthquake should be also through your beacon for sure.
Definitely.
So glimmering gift. Magical gemstones can be formed within your grasp. Once per turn, as a bonus action, you can create a magical gem that can be used as part of a spell this round. If you do not use the gem by the start of your next turn, the gem fades to dust. This gem can be used by you or another willing creature on their turn. This gem can be used on any spell that requires a consumable gemstone or gold up to 1,000 GP as a material component. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again for 7 days.
Okay. Always got a Revivify in your pocket.
So what I don't understand, though, is it says once per turn as a bonus action. And it says it's once every 7 days. So, but it doesn't say how many you get. So I'm kind of confused on why it says once per turn as a bonus action. Like, but if I only get to do it once, why even bother saying once per turn? Or am I supposed to be able to do this a few times and then I lose all ability after a while?
So the way I imagine it is it only hits the 7-day reset. And it's not worded this way, but the way I feel like it was intended is it only hits the 7-day reset once you use it for the spell.
Oh, so if it turns to dust, it doesn't reset. But once you've actually utilized it, that's the 7.
That's what I'm imagining.
Okay.
That's what would make the most sense to me.
I think that does make the most sense. Yes, Hecate, this is a Druid subclass.
But I think that's pretty cool. There's definitely a lot of spells that require gems and gemstones.
And I like that you're not just being able to create it and sell it. It's not that. It is literally a one-time material component of the gem sort.
Yep.
I'm glad that it's not, it doesn't replace any material component. I'm glad that it only replaces gem components. I like that it's capped at 1000 GP. That gives you a nice wide range of spells. I definitely think it needs a cap because of something like Revivify. I'm not sure 1 is the best cap. I wouldn't want them to have as many that they have proficiency, because I mean, that would basically just be a whole party rest at that point. TPKs would not be existent. But why not 2? Like, why not 2 within the 7 days? Or
I mean, I'll say, so as a party member, if you had this ability and you had like stocked up on like 3 gems, right? And one of your party members goes down, what are you using? Are you using the gem you bought, or are you using your ability?
I would only ever use the ability when in need, like when I don't have actual gems.
See, it's interesting because I would probably use the ability first all the time. If I have some,
it's free, I guess, in that
because I know I'm going to get that back, and I don't know I'm going to get this back.
That's fair.
Know I need it now. So I kind of like the idea of this doesn't do a whole lot, except it gives you basically break in case of emergency type. I mean, it's a little bit cooler than that, because I can not spam it, but I can use it once every 7 days. And hopefully you're not a party who's got somebody literally dying every 7 days.
Fight,
so, and again, this is not just for Revivify. Like, I would say Revivify is like
I think that is a very good case scenario, because that's where I think the issue would arise the most, right? You don't want to have someone who can basically make TPKs not scary.
You know what?
I do see your point, though. I wasn't really thinking about like the free aspect. I always look at like personal resources, especially once every 7 days, as something that you want to hold off on, but it is recoupable, right? Like,
so you not only Revivify, but 7th level Resurrection is 1000 GP. So the Revivify is 300 GP. This is 1000.
So you know what I would do? Here's what I would do.
I see what you're about to say. I think I know what you're about to say.
You can use it once per turn, as always, but
sure.
The thing is you can make a number of gems equal up to 1000 GP.
Right.
So you can make,
and once you've exhausted that amount,
yes, and then it resets, and the reset timer doesn't start until you've used it all up.
Oh, so you could be sitting on 300 GP left,
and it doesn't it doesn't start the timer, so you have to just find out. You could easily just say, I go blow it on a spell, like find a spell that needs a 300 GP thing. But the idea would be I could have 1000 GP. So for Revivify, I get 1 Revivify, or boom, I get 2 500 GP stones for 2 different spells that I can cast myself and a buddy. Or I could make 10 1 GP things for us to just spam fucking spells
sure
match. I don't know how often spells need gems, but I think that if there are enough spells that have a different amount of pricing, like the different gem value, that might be worth it.
Generally, the spells that need gems and stuff like this are non-combat spells.
Gotcha.
They're spells to prepare something, to give you something, to bolster
then I think
something.
Even more so, that would make more sense that you could create a number of these.
Like, I could totally see somebody trying to like cast Revivify in the middle of combat, which is why I get the bonus action economy and stuff like that. But
But
at the
outside
same
of it-
time, I'll say this. If what you're talking about is true, I would say give them the opportunity to start that cooldown.
Yeah, you don't have to, like, if you have like an amount that can't be used, you can just say I give that up. Like at any point. You
Sure.
to
It's
zero.
like, yeah, my cooldown starts now type deal.
Yeah. Like it won't go. Like,
but
if you summon one and don't use it and it goes to dust, I get that. That doesn't reset the timer, but you can choose to just.
I totally like the idea of being able to use a portion of it. Like if I use Revivify here, now I got what 700 GP left to use, right? And I just hold on to that, and then once I'm out, then my 7 days starts.
Yeah,
type deal.
I think that would be. I would feel a little bit nicer. And yeah, I think that could, I think, broaden it a little bit. I don't know how many spells really use.
Although I will say,
gems, though,
you will never have to pay for a resurrection spell again, even because the creature just has to be dead for less than a century. What's 7 more days?
Oh yeah, you can just
What's 7 more?
I just go hang out.
Like
yeah.
for real.
What's
like
7 days? So yeah, I would say that I get where you were coming from. I think that as is, 1 is fine. I can see where any more than that, but I like the idea of being able to break it up and even giving it a little bit more, maybe 1,500. That way you get, 1 really big spell and then 1 small spell.
Sure.
And then it gives you more smaller spells. But I think that would just come down to how many spells use gems and then what variety of gem value is actually used, right? Are there spells that need 50 and 100 gems, or are they all 500, 1,000, and up?
I mean, theoretically, I think whatever spell creates holy water requires 25 GP, type deal. So like there are spells that require find familiar requires 10 GP, but I don't think that's gems. It's something else.
Yeah. What do you mean by they'll have 10k or more nearing this level, Hecate? You mean like just money wise? He said Hecate says that this late game becomes a bit bad since at that level most PC will have 10k or more nearing this level. So I'm not sure what you mean by 10k or more.
It might be how much gold a lot of people have in this like late game, like depending upon like the way your DM plays, like a lot of the times like treasure, like you could have defeated a dragon by now and have like literally a dragon's hoard worth of like gold and stuff. But
the idea of just because you have the money to get a gem doesn't mean that you have the ability to.
It doesn't mean the gem's available for you to find.
Yeah, or at the right value. There's a lot of ways that DMs could easily say, yeah. So if it's just a money thing, I think there's a lot more easier ways. I mean, if you're in the middle of a dungeon, you're not going to be able to swap out, your gold.
Sure.
So yeah, but I mean, good point too. Like at this point in the game, gem cost may not be that much of an issue, but availability and convenience is.
Yeah.
And let's face it, most players are greedy. They're not gonna, if they can get something for free, they're gonna get something for free.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, I would do that. I think I would break it down into a value where you get as many gems in up to a certain value and then it resets. And then you have to wait.
Okay.
Or hell, even if you don't want to bother with the how much you lose and everything, like what you do is you give it a number, say 1,500, 1,400, give it a little bit more than the 1,000, I would think.
Sure.
If you're going to allow it to break it apart, but you find something divisible by 7. And then you just say that it gains a 7th of its amount back. So if it's 14,
I see what you're saying.
If you give it 1,400, it's going to gain 200 a day. So if you spent 600 to make a 600 gem, it's going to take you 3 days to get that back. So instead of waiting 7 days to get for all of it period back, you have to wait chunks. So if you're waiting for 1,000, you got to wait 5 days. But if you're waiting 200, tomorrow morning you'll have 200.
Okay.
So that's another option, is if you wanted to extend the time frame, make it just a amount. Hell, even 100 per day. And at that point, it's 2 weeks before you get your 1,400, 1,500 back, something like that.
Okay.
Hell, I'll even go one step further if you really wanted to. No, it would add unnecessary complexity. But actually, to be fair, you never see this. You never see the added complexity late game. Everything's always given to the players. Like, you notice how the game's obvious that you're getting better at everything, but you notice that the game never does anything to make the game harder for the players. It's always on the DM.
Sure.
So here's something. When you get this ability, give it like that 1400 GP. Make it to where you get, or 1500 GP it is the max amount that you can make in one time. And then otherwise you can just split it up. You only get like 100 per day. So every morning you get 100 to your pool.
Sure.
If you've spent it all, you got to wait 2 weeks to get it all back. But if you run out, if you utilize all of your gem making, you can't activate Crystalline Body. You basically have to have a minimum of 100 to activate. It doesn't use it, doesn't consume it.
Right.
But you have to have a pool of like at least 100 to activate Crystalline Body. So once you upgrade to this, if you use all of it to make your gems, you literally have to wait till the next day before you can activate that ability. Because why not? Why not give them something cool, but also make it more complex? Because we don't do that. The DMs are always expected to do something that way, right? Make the challenges, but why can't the build become more challenging for veteran players?
I like that. If that's the case, I would love it if I didn't have to use my action economy while in crystalline body form. So like if I activate my crystalline body, I don't need a bonus action to replace a spell component. I can just cast the spell.
You just like rip off a chunk off the shoulder. It's like, I would agree with that. That's totally fine. If you're gonna associate it with that, then I would totally do that. I was thinking about this a second ago. I would even let you, like, say your action economy is up and you're not in your crystalline body form. If you have one of those things that are up out of the ground, one of those beacons, you can destroy one of those beacons and use that as like an extra thing.
Is it?
Hecate has a unique idea, using the gem cost to cast spells instead of spell slots. So like the idea that, you have 100 GP, what if you created a 500 GP gem and then that's a level 5 spell slot? Something like that, to where it's now your spell economy. That's a unique way of thinking about it.
It's very interesting. It's almost like how you can mess with sorcery points and turn them into spell slots.
It would be something similar to that. That might be a little bit more complicated for a druid subclass, but that's a cool idea.
I do think that is cool. I think I would love it if you could like do something where you could like create and compact a gem that's basically has enough energy in it to cast a spell or something like that. Like I think that would be cool. I think that would be cool if it like lasted longer and you could like give it to teammates and stuff like that. Like
maybe that one would be a little bit of utility out of combat where you would like spend a minute or spend a round or spend 10 minutes like ritual.
Yeah.
That would be a perfect ritual to give the subclass. You could spend 10 minutes and X number of GP value to create a gem that will last, an hour, that can be used by anybody, and it has enough energy to cast any spell or some, up to a certain level spell. Like that would be kind of dope. I think a ritual would make most sense.
I think that would be cool. I think it could last until you take a long rest, and I think that you could basically give it to anyone, and they could use it to cast a spell of whatever level you decided to create or higher. So my biggest question would be is like, how much would it cost for each spell slot? I think 100 is too cheap.
True.
I think 100 is
it'd be 200 at least per spell slot. So it's like 200, 400. So that way, because if you did that and we were using the original at 1,000, you'd only get a 3rd level spell slot. Up to 3rd level. If you, or no, I'm sorry.
If you're 200, you get at least 5.
Yeah. So you'd get up to a 5th level, 5th level spell slot, or something, smaller.
Sure.
A couple first levels, a couple second levels, 2 3rd levels, and that's about it. Like, I like that idea though. It's not a bad idea. I don't know if this build deserves it, but I do like the idea of being able to do more exchanges for spells.
Yeah. I do like that idea. I think it could totally work. I think 5th level is a good cap for what we're doing here. Even like how we mentioned the 5th level counterspell deal. Mm-hmm. We should stick it with 5th level. But yeah,
this is a good one. This is hard. Like really, I think we haven't really like changed much, but I think we just really enhanced a few things, just made it a little bit more tangible, made it a little bit more readable.
I mean, there was a couple of things where, like, what was that one ability that we were talking about that it was the counter ability, the
refract.
Yes, there we go.
Yeah,
that one.
That one definitely has to come down a notch a little.
That one. But even that last ability, even though I would probably change some things about it, I'm not mad at it as is necessarily. So yeah.
No, this is dope. This is a cool idea. It's definitely giving me something to think about for think about how we treat druids. They're very nature based, but only recently have we started to divide what that means. You know, we have a couple of these different circles, but they're still all very basic nature, right? Like you made Circle of the Leaf because we don't have like a forest druid anymore. Like we kind of just, we have, these weird druids of circles, but they're not really of specified aspects. Like the moon druid, that's not really an aspect of nature anymore. Where's our desert druid? Where's the Arctic druid? You think about a druid who lives in the forest because that's where, he's surrounded by plants and animals, but where's the one holed up in a cold cave surrounded by polar bears and penguins? Where's the one in the desert hanging out with the lizards? Like, there should be a druid for every major ecosystem. There should be this is high point in creation right now. Like, this is actually happening. I'm going to now.
That feels like subletting subclasses, to be honest. It's like, how many, you have a Tempest Cleric and you have you have all these things for like, you get the Ice Monarch and all that.
I think this is going to happen in High Point now. I think I'm going to dedicate some time to developing the idea that, because you know how like traditionally there's always ever just like one true druid, like one master druid. I kind of like the idea that does exist for every like ecosystem. Like there's druids that like their areas.
Like the Arc Druid?
But yeah, there's just like one druid that's just like mastered this area. So, you go into the middle of the desert, he's that hermit that lives, in a desert cave somewhere in the middle of nowhere. And, he just
Is there one master of all druids? One druid to rule them all?
Maybe there needs to be. Maybe there needs to be a council. Maybe there's kind of like the Avatar, one that walks many planes.
Yeah.
He who walks many planes. The many planes druid, or this, Circle of the Many Planes. Ooh, okay. I'm getting ideas. But yes, I like this idea that every zone should absolutely have a dedicated druid. And so why not have a crystal druid? One that went into a cave and embodied a crystalline cave, and that's what they associated to, right? Like, imagine their associations are more cave dwelling animals, spiders, bats, slugs, like little glowworms. Imagine those are their wild shapes. You could give each of them, the desert druid could have wild shapes of scorpions and different types of lizards. And I'm trying to think of any other African like wildlife, even like just any kind of anything that kind of touches that kind of level of wasteland. Even.
Right.
A druid that can turn into a giraffe. That
would be wild, right? That would be wild. Like swamp druids.
Yes, a swamp druid, a coastal druid.
Yeah,
that's the one that basically is Aquaman.
There you go.
Like you actually have the Aquaman druid, because they would just be on the coastline and just talk with all of the fish and everything. This needs to happen.
This definitely needs to happen.
Let's put this for the APHB.
APH, okay.
This will go. This will be an entire chapter in the Advanced Player's Handbook for all of the different druids, like all the different arch druids that we should have out there. Because this is giving me that vibe of. Now I'm just thinking. So we've built all of these things in D&D, but sometimes I feel like we've misplaced our ideologies. So you have the drow, and you have a whole society of drow, and then you could play drow as a species, right, as a race. But then there's like other things that they can be, and drow can technically be druids. So where's the Underdark? Not just a cave druid, the Underdark druid, the druid who was born, raised, and became part of the Underdark. Their wild shape are like not just spiders, but like they would have the what's the name of the half body, the human body with the arachnid body?
Oh, I forget what those are
that
called.
Could be their wild
Yeah.
Or later down the road, they could unlock that as a wild shape.
Because
that's just something.
I really do like the idea of every style of druid having a unique wild shape that no other druid can have. Like, yes. I don't know why that isn't a thing right now.
And I love the idea of some of these druids having swarms as a wild shape.
That would be wild. Like, I've always wanted to know, like, what exactly that would look like.
I just feel like it would act like a normal swarm where the more damage you do to it, eventually he just has to take his own form, right? But
sure.
You could have one that could do, like, burst into insects, burst into, like, a bunch of scorpions, burst into bats,
beetles,
snakes, you know, flies. Like, you could do a whole bunch of ones, but at some point, you know, you take enough down, they have to reconstitute.
A murder of crows.
And maybe at that point, maybe that special one, right? Maybe you don't unlock that until level 10. And maybe that one that's special to you, maybe you can only transform when the form itself has like a certain amount of HP. So like, let's say the form itself has like 400 HP, but you can't transform into it if it doesn't have more than 50. So you have to wait for it to heal. Like, if you get damaged and force back into your normal form, you can't go back into that. Not like normal wild shape where you can just keep popping back and forth. That one would be locked to you until it heals up. But that's why it would be more big, more powerful,
sure.
and unique to you. It would just have its own pool that would regen like every long rest. So you would have to have like 3 long rests for it to get like full max health. So it's one of those things you can't spam, but when you go into it, like, you know, you mean business.
Right.
That one would be if you had like an Underdark Druid, that's the one where they would turn into like the spider person.
Right.
Okay, so with all of that being said, I think it definitely gets the inspiration point. So with a couple things to be modified and a couple upgrades that I would like to add to it, this is very, very good, very close for high point utilization. So I think we are going to slap an 8 on this one.
Nice, very nice. 8 out of 10. We love it.
I really don't see any reason why not. There wasn't anything unbalanced. There was just that, you know, one ability that I think we would have changed.
Sure.
And then everything else was just more of fine tuning it and making it a little bit more, I think just a little more powerful, really. Just adding a little bit.
Yeah. And a little bit of clarity when it comes to some of the abilities. You know, I'd say the biggest thing that I would say needs to get nerfed is potentially how the counterspell works.
Yeah.
But again, outside of that, no, I love it. Yeah. I love it.
This makes me think of a lot of things. I'm high points buzzing now with some new ideas. So yeah, thank you Pokeniner for sending this in. It was a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're not here, I hope you catch the VOD. But I do hope that you enjoyed the review. I hope you got some good ideas. But I am curious to know what you at home thought. What did you like the most? What would you use? Would you use this? And did you agree with any of our assessments? Do you think we were too harsh on anything? Would you have reworded it differently? Let us know in the comments. We're really curious. But that's going to be us for today. So thank you so much for joining us. We will be back next week with another video. But until then, have a great rest of your week, guys. Cheers.
Deuces, my friends.
All right. Success, everybody. Was kind of nice. I like it.
No, for sure.
It's a very solid druid, too. Kind of definitely a new feel.
Yeah.
I did not feel like this was very outlandish or overdone or anything. Hecate, I gotta step away real quick, but Hecate wants to know if they submitted their druid.
Yes. I'm pretty sure we have your druid on lock for us. Let me take a gander real quick. Hecate, I'm not gonna lie, you got a lot of stuff in the works right now. Druid, Circle of the Twilight Monarch. Yes, we have you in here. We also have what's the other one? We have your Grave Weaver Wizard subclass. We have your Way of the Scarlet Dance Monk subclass. And we have, I have that in here twice for some reason. Wild. And then we have all of your Samurai subclass stuff, which I can't not freaking wait for. It's gonna be straight fire. It's gonna be straight fire, y'all. But no, So yes, we do have you squared away coming up here. Let me actually look. I just posted in the Discord what we got going on for next week. I believe it is DKX is next. Let me check. I'm sorry, DXY DKX. DXY, they have their Decker, the living deck of many things item coming up next. And then after that, how far in the future are you, Hecate? I feel like you're not too far away.
We get Pokeniner their average.
I'm about to post that in the Discord now. But their new average is 8.
Nice. Wow. Is that the highest average so far?
Quite possibly. They are pretty up there. Where's my community chat? Boop, 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 and one more.
And did you let everybody know what next week's item is?
Yes, next week's item is coming from Cart. Their Decker, the living deck of many things.
Oh, we've been waiting for that one. Oh, I'm excited.
Yes. So I'm very excited to see what that's gonna look like. And I did confirm that Hecate's Druid subclass is in there. And on the books for us to review coming up here. Theirs is called, I just said it, Circle of the Twilight Monarch.
Ooh,
they love their monarchs.
Yeah,
they love their monarchs.
There's a whole monarch thing. Like, I want a. At the end of all of this, I want some sort of submission that's
monarch compilation.
More just like we find out at the very end, be like, oh, here's my final submission, and then it's like it's not the BBEG, but it's like the BBG's manifesto or a journal entry, and you find out that it's just like the monarch cult.
Oh.
And so it's like there's all these little references everywhere, but different references throughout the entire campaign until you finally realize everything that had Monarch touching it was touched by the BBEG. Like,
why?
Almost kind of like a contamination thing where it's like the more you find out, Monarch isn't just like something, it's like it's his influence.
You ever watch Venture Brothers?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. The Monarch! That's the first thing I think of every time I think of that.
The most deadly of all the flying creatures. The deadly Monarch.
Oh, so wild. But no, that's great. That's good stuff.
Awesome. Well, yeah, I think that's gonna be us. I think it was pretty short. I mean, we didn't really have much to offer, unfortunately. It was too good of a submission, but
I mean, dang, Pokeniner, give us some more stuff, dude.
Right. But if we do end here, we might be able to do some testing on I can at least get to testing on the live stream stuff. So I will, or the IRL stream.
Yeah,
because it is early enough. If we cut out now, I might actually be able to get to that tonight and do some more testing, because I'm really excited to get the IRL streaming up and running.
That's going to be very fun. That's going to be a very fun process. So
I gotta figure out where else I can go walking to go have chats.
Okay.
I should go. Ooh, there's some good hikes that I have service at, not too far from here.
Really?
So one of the things that I've also found kind of not necessarily an issue, but while the gimbal has a light, it's bright as fuck. So at nighttime, pointing it at yourself, you basically just everything is black. You see the screen, you see the giant ass light, and then it's just black. Wild. So there's no way I'm walking around like that. It's great if you point it forward, and I'm like showing like the front camera, because then it's like
you can see everything.
It's amazing, but it is not. I'll have to get a much
gentler
somehow light source if I'm gonna do like walking around where I can have like a dim light source.
Is it possible to like turn, because your camera right now is your phone, right? Is it possible to turn it around and use like the flashlight on your phone?
It would be the same issue. I would be blinded.
There's no way to adjust the brightness on.
No, because they're just LED. They're just the strong LEDs. So Excited for this monk and samurai subclasses. Those, yeah, I think you've been waiting for those ones for a minute.
So badly.
I mean, you're in control, man. You could have had those ones.
I mean, yes, but you know, I try to be fair, try to be reasonable, and I like to throw some variety in there. Like, so if it's possible to like mix it up a little bit, you know, like let's do it.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, a couple things before we go. So we are getting more and more serious about doing expansions. So we really want a lot of y'all's feedback. So whenever we do stuff, if it's a hit, you know, we're trying to keep a general pulse, but if there's things that y'all really like, let us know in the Discord. Make sure that we are very aware of it. If you see any kind of stuff that we're doing, you know, the IRL streams, if those seem to be in your interest, let us know. We're kind of throwing a lot of stuff at the wall, both to see if it sticks with the audience and the community, but both with us, right? There may be something that we try that we're just not into. And maybe there's, going to be something that the audience just doesn't care about. So any kind of feedback would be super helpful to just understand what kind of things that we should be practicing. I mean, reviews aren't going anywhere. Subletting subclasses will be coming back soon. Pop culture builds will be coming back soon. And beyond that, we have one-shot rivals. But what's next? Like, the IRL streams are going to be great, and we still have community streams to do some testing. I still do some game streams every now and again, but I want to know what's next, right? Like, what's going to build us next? I mean, board game night is also coming.
Yes, that's going to be very cool.
I really do think, I know I've talked to Vixie about this, but so far with the IRL streams, a few ideas that we're having, going and just doing dice buying, just going and just looking at a bunch of dice at a dice store and then just building those sets would be fun. Mini painting, I think, is still one of my favorite ideas, because I don't do that kind of shit as a hobby. Like, I love the act of it, but I don't do it because it's a lot of effort for something that I'm just going to look at.
Yeah.
And while I do enjoy painting and all of that other stuff, it's just that I have a hard time putting that much. It's like why I don't play as many video games, and especially first-person video games anymore. It's just a lot of time to dedicate for something that I won't walk away with anything.
Yeah.
Like, nothing like truly meaningful anymore. Not to say that games aren't fun, but they're fun when I play them. But like Ghost of Tsushima, I've already put, maybe 15 hours into it, beat the whole first island, 100%. And it's like, I could probably dump another 30 hours into this entire game, but what am I going to walk away with? Like, it's fun to play it in the moment. It's nothing I'm going to walk away with and keep for the rest of my life. And that's where I'm kind of at, where it's like, I don't want to spend my life in that grind mode of, I've always got to be doing something productive, but what I do has to like make me walk away with something at least. Like, at least, when I play Rocket League or Fortnite, I have a score that I can keep up, right? I have a ranking, I have a skill set that I can decide I want to maintain, right? It's
the way I look at it, and this is why, like, I will never spend $60 on a game that's gonna give me a single playthrough. Like, I just can't do it. When I played Ghost of Tsushima, it was only because I had the PlayStation monthly thing, and it was just one of the games you could play on there, and so I got that, but I also got a bunch of other stuff. But when it comes to games like that, I look at them like a movie, like I'm watching a movie or like I'm watching a TV show, and I'm just going through. So the only benefit that I get is to see what happens next, is to see where the story takes me, is to see like what this journey is like, and have some sort of stake in the game out of like seeing what's going on in the development of that story and being a part of it. Like, outside of that, you're very much right. Like, I get a lot more benefit out of what I can see in something like Rivals, right? Like, I can see myself and my skill set getting better. I can see like my scores getting higher. I can see me placing, getting MVP more often, getting more kills, more KDs. Like,
there's also knock-on effects. I mean, just the general idea of keeping your brain wired and just constantly working. Like, video games are great to keep your mental acuity up.
Very much so. It's very much so.
Everyone always says it's a waste of your time. It's like, no,
it's really not.
Especially if you don't play super casually. Like, if you actually play competitively, and I don't mean pro, but when you play competitive, not just hop into casual and dick around, but when you do try to go for a rank in a game, you are taking it seriously. You're paying attention to a whole lot more, and it does help. It's attention to detail. It's understanding how to work cooperatively. It's understanding how to take a loss and keep driving. Like, there's a lot to video games that people just
seriously, how I don't really fuck around with sports, right? I don't watch sports. Like I used to watch the UFC and stuff like that, martial arts way back in the day, but I really don't that much anymore just because of the direction a lot of the things have gone.
Right.
I find myself more and more like if I want to consume like content, you know, I watched this dude go and do a video game tournament. Watching stuff like that, watching somebody be a part of like a team in a group and like seeing how they approach certain situations, seeing how their teams communicate, seeing how they work about coming up against different strategies and different like counters to what they're doing. Like that kind of stuff really gets my brain thinking. It's like, okay, I see what they're doing. I see why they're doing it. I might have done something different. Oh, did that work for them? Yes, it worked for them. Okay, let me see how I can find value in those things, especially when it comes to areas in which I also enjoy participating, right? So like I'm generally speaking, I'm not going to watch somebody playing a game that I don't really care about, right? Like personally, I am just trash at Rocket League, right? Rocket League is like not my business, right? But when it comes to something like Fortnite or Marvel Rivals, like I play those games. So like watching people get into that, like I'm about that life, you know, like I can see where what they're doing can relate to what I'm trying to do at the same time. So I can actually find benefit out of it.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is just, I don't need to always be, you know, productive, but I do want to make sure that what I'm doing is providing me something that I can walk away with.
Sure.
So good idea, Hecate, doing like DM advice streams, just popping up and just kind of just hanging on in chat and doing like little DM, you know, advice. So that's something that I could easily do with the pop-up once I get the IRL set up, because this is kind of a big, not really a big production, but it's like it's dedicated to the desktop. You know, setting up in the tavern is a whole deal, and sometimes I can't just sit down and get everything set up just to do like a quick little like chat. But with the gimbal in the backpack, hell, I can take that to work. And I can just, you know, when I'm on break and go out into the parking lot, I can load up and I can just do it, you know, on my lunch. I can just do a half hour, 45-minute little thing while I'm on lunch. And I can just pop on and be like, hey, I'm just, you know, doing that. And I'm starting to think about it. If I can get my walks done, if I can figure out where to go, because it'll be a little bit different pace to try and like talk to chat and walk and do all of that, especially at night. I'm thinking coming up, you know, with new ideas, you know, going off of what Hecate was suggesting, doing like high point story time, like high point histories.
Oh, okay.
Where I can just go like drive to like one of the local hikes.
Sure.
On the way, just think of something I want to talk about in High Point.
Elements of history, you know.
And then, and I could just hop out, just go live and just be like, so did you ever want to know the history of Crowley? Like, you know, in my realm. And then I could just talk about like just that little tidbit of that, right? And then just do like little things like that, especially if I can get this done and make sure that all of that gets saved on YouTube, then it can all go into the database.
Yes, that would be clean. That would be hella clean. I could just do little tiny ones where I'm just talking about that, or so that would be dope. Okay. No, I'm super here for that. I think it'll be sick.
So I'm gonna keep trying this. Hopefully, if everything goes well, we will do an IRL stream on Friday. If not, maybe we'll do another sublet and subclasses.
Okay.
Or pop culture build. I don't know. Maybe we'll poll everybody on Thursday and see what people think.
Okay.
But
Cool.
Thanks for joining us, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the stream. I hope you enjoyed the review. It was really fun. We will be back on Friday as always. I will try to be back at least once or twice this week for some game streams, or maybe some pop-up IRL streams if I'm feeling frisky. And you can always find Kage live on Tuesdays if he's able to do his dev stream. So go check him out as well. But otherwise, that's going to be us for the rest of the night. I hope you had a fantastic weekend. I hope you have a great week ahead of you, and we'll see you on Friday. Cheers.
Deuces, my friends.